you chat?
Always. Hello. Ooh.
We're in sync.
We're so in sync.
And there was a long pause before we both said hello.
Isn't that interesting? It's like when they do those twins. Have you seen that where they put a TikTok? I mean, they have a door between these two twins and they like say put a number up and like the twins get the same number.
No.
It's like twin tuition.
Is that real or is that just like they decided before and then made a video?
I mean, they seem pretty surprised. So
we should do that.
Yeah.
But we'll discuss it in advance.
No, we would never. Wink, wink. We have twin tuition.
We do.
Hello, how are you?
What a weekend.
Tell us about it.
Oh, we were supposed to go to a wedding on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I was actually looking forward to going to this wedding because it's at a venue that I've been to before. And I was like, oh, that's fun.
Oh.
And originally, our babysitting situation was up in the air because my parents are key players in our babysitting situation, and they were out of town. Basically, all of our babysitters were out of town this weekend for whatever reason.
And I had to work.
So your sweet, sweet husband was going to be our sitter.
He was excited. He was going to take him to either a petting zoo or a museum.
Oh, well, that would have been much more fun. But so anyway, Mike was going to go to the like ceremony part earlier in the day so that I didn't have to leave Tyler with Jack for 100 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just going to meet him before cocktail started, but Jack woke up Saturday feeling under the weather.
Poor little baby.
Which is just kind of like what you get when they're in daycare.
It's daycare in a nutshell. It's like your kid will go and make friends, but they will also be chronically ill.
Yes. Until they're immune to everything.
Until they go to kindergarten.
Yes. So, yeah, at first I was like, oh, the sniffles. Always has the sniffles. Like he woke up feeling a little stuffy, drippy, whatever. But then as the day progressed toward his nap, it was like he was just lower energy and like meh. And then
isn't it so kooky that at like 2 years old he has a personality?
Yeah.
Like it's like you can tell, like we can all tell if he's quote not being himself, but it's like who is himself?
You can like see it in his eyes.
But he's just like even still like it's a personality thing. Like, oh, he's not behaving like Jack.
Yeah.
But he's just a little baby.
So yeah, he had a little fever before we put him down for his nap. And I was like, maybe it was just like, he's running around and he's not feeling so great. We'll see how he is when he wakes up. And then he woke up from his nap not feeling well at all.
Isn't that the kicker? I feel like that happens to me too. Like I always think I'm going to feel better after a nap when I'm feeling sick. No.
Oh, really?
I always wake up sicker.
Oh.
Like my first sick nap always kicks it into another place.
Oh, well, maybe stop doing that then.
But you're so tired. Anyways, go on.
Yeah, so he was not feeling especially great, and he had a pretty high fever, and it was just kind of managing that. So I couldn't go to the wedding, which is fine. I felt horrible.
It sucks when you have to cancel a day of for a wedding, especially when you know. Like I think like lay people don't know what goes into a wedding. But
yes.
like when you know that like they've had to pay for you and they've put you at a table and they have a place card, I think it sucks even more. Obviously, there's nothing you can do when you have a sick kid. That just is what it is.
Yes. And like there's always you told me this before our wedding, like people have to cancel the day a couple days before, travel, sicknesses, etc. People.
It happens. It's not unheard of.
Breaking up with their plus ones.
Yeah, that happens more than you would think.
A variety of things, and so you're like there's always a buffer in the numbers.
Yep.
But I still just felt like I felt bad just it being day of, not that like I would have known he was going to be sick any earlier. But
and I think that is like probably the most common. People's babysitters cancel, their kids are sick, like you can't predict that.
And that's the other thing is like you don't want to RSVP to something too early because you have to verify that you do have childcare. Like,
And
it's not like you get a thing and you make sure, like, oh, we don't have anything that weekend. Perfect. We'll be there. It's like, then you have to check, can someone
watch our kid.
watch our kid? Because I don't know about you, but, like, I'm not bringing him to a wedding.
Was he even invited to this wedding?
No.
Oh.
I just mean, like, you know, when people, that happened to us.
Yeah.
People bring a kid.
Children.
Yes.
I don't get that. You have
and
to watch
so
your
rude.
kid.
It's so rude to put on an invitation, like, no children, please. Like,
I don't even think it's rude. I think it should be common sense. I think it's so annoying if you have to write it. Like,
it is common.
If your child's name is not on the invitation, they aren't invited.
Right.
Regardless
Mr. and
of
Mrs.
age.
only.
Yeah. And sometimes they'll put family, and when it says family of the family, you are welcome to bring your child. If you would like to deal with your child, please do.
If it just says Mr. and Mrs., you can't bring your kid and you can't bring your neighbor. No one else can come.
They fall under the no invite category.
Yes, I agree. But, you know, people will be like, oh, well, we can't get a babysitter, so if you want us to come, and it's like, we don't want you to come that badly that we need your kid running around on the stage.
And my question is, do you want to come that badly?
No.
Like, we don't have
to bring
kids
your
yet,
kid
but
and have to watch them at someone else's wedding. It's rude.
But it's also like, I can watch my own kid at home and at least enjoy my peace. At someone else's wedding, now I'm not enjoying the wedding and I'm chasing my kid around a new venue. I could do that at home with their toys.
Yeah.
Why do I want to?
Why won't I just bring them to a park?
Why would I bring them here? Have to pack up all their? It just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. But people are like it's like all the showers we've been going to, we've been remarking it's so interesting. So many women are bringing their like infants. It's like I don't know.
No, thank you.
I want to go and have a mimosa in peace.
Yeah, for 2 hours, like, come on. I get it if it's like a close person and it's a shower and your baby is under the age of 1 and you have no one else to, like,
or you're
all
breastfeeding
of these,
and you're only breastfeeding.
A million circumstances have to come into play for you to bring them. But, like, that's to showers exclusively. Weddings, never, not ever. No.
People really just should ask us. We know what's right.
Yeah, we have the rule book
answers
here, apparently. But no, I have kind of learned, like, with RSVPing, you know, when you, like, I used to kind of think when we were getting married, like, if you haven't RSVP'd by now, you're probably not coming. But it really is with kids. Like, you have to verify that someone can be with your kid. And if it's someone who's not your usual person, like if it's like, you know, oh, and so is going to watch them this time, then even as it gets closer, like, are they dependable? Are they for sure coming? Like, and then because you don't want to RSVP yes, and then have to say, like, never mind.
Well, I'm sorry that the little BB was under the weather.
But we kept him home from daycare today. Is
he enjoying his sick day?
I think he is like, oh, I'm not at daycare. That's an interesting choice.
My friend was, when I was telling her that he was sick at work over the weekend, she was like, oh, I used to love being sick as a kid. And I was like, same, but I think he's too young to enjoy the concept of being sick.
Yeah, he's
like,
not there yet.
Like when you're like 6 and you like watch your shows all day, it's a dream. But when you're 2, it's just, I feel like shit and I don't know what's going on.
Why is it that when you were sick as a kid, it didn't feel like when you're sick now as an adult, like you could have the same cold or flu or like whatever, and it like levels you. And as a kid, you're like, oh, well,
life has beaten us down.
Yeah. At this point, we're just weathered.
We also have like jobs and like financial responsibilities. Like when you were a kid, it was like, oh no, I'm missing my social studies test.
But like like it's just about how you feel.
But no, I think it's the mental aspect. I really do. I think like you're like overwhelmed, stressed, have shit to do, have to clean your house. When you're a kid, you're like, can someone bring me soup?
Yeah.
Personally, I watch the Maury show all day. I think the mental game of it, like I remember, I don't know why, but I got sick every March as a child.
Every March?
I mean, in my mind.
Mental?
No, like in my mind. I don't know if it was really every March, but it does align with my like spring allergies.
Okay.
But my great grandma was my caregiver. And she made being sick so fucking fun. First of all, my illness coincided with Shamrock Shakes. I ate Shamrock Shakes for a week. Like, my mom would be like, do you need to give her real food? And my grandma was like, her throat hurts. Like, it's really all she can get down. I laid in bed. I watched Maury Povich every day, finding out who was the father.
You had a TV in your room?
Of course. I was the light of everyone's lives. I was
When you were that little?
When I was like, I think I always had a TV in my room.
Oh my gosh.
I had a really small one with like a VHS built in because I would watch Barney on it. And then when we moved,
you were old enough to be watching Barney. I mean, young enough, and you had a TV in your room.
Hell yeah.
I would have just loved that.
So when I would get sick, I would just live on Shamrock Shakes and talk shows.
Wow.
The Montel Williams show. That's a throwback.
I did like Montel.
Me too. But like, that was what being sick was. And then I always skated it into a couple extra days. Like, it probably was like a 3-day sickness, but I always missed a week.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. Now when I'm sick, I'm like, please let this end.
Or for me personally, if I was like sick the night before or I'd been sick the day before and I'm missing another day, my dad would go to Blockbuster and then call me with what movies were available.
That's the best.
And I was like, okay. And he's like, yep, they do have Father of the Bride. And I was like, nope, Father of the Bride Part 2. Part 2 only.
God, do you listen?
Like, who wants to watch the original Father of the Bride?
Part 2, yeah. Yeah, I mean, now as an adult, being sick isn't fun because it just means you have to do your normal shit while feeling shittier.
100%.
Being sick as a child meant you got to do nothing while feeling mildly
But like, I
unwell.
don't even remember like feeling that crummy.
I mean, it's like how I could run a mile in gym. I don't know. Being a youth, it just like does something to you.
You're able to do things you'll never be able to do again.
Superhuman strength. Yeah.
But then, we went to the pool yesterday while he napped.
So fun.
And I was thinking about this. So the pool that we go to is like a very small, I'd like you to weigh in on etiquette here.
Okay.
The pool that we go to is like a very small community pool.
Okay.
It's for like, I don't know, maybe like
75.
Sure, 75.
Okay.
And I would say the majority of them don't use the pool at the same time.
Right. It's
most
pretty,
days.
It's pretty
You're
desolate.
usually there with like 1 or 2 other people. Unless it's a weekend when families have decided to take their children who are in elementary school.
Okay.
And there is something about elementary school children that makes it so that they should not be able to go to a small, intimate setting such as that.
They should be barred from community pools?
It's not. No, I think that those children would have more fun at a public pool. They want to like run and like throw balls and splash and kick. That's what those kids want to do.
Yeah.
They don't want to go to a quiet, like someone is on a chair in the shade reading.
Yeah.
They want to like play at the pool, which is totally fine. They're kids. But like yesterday, for example, and I'm not saying this with babies because babies literally just like come and like quietly float around.
Right.
It's like the kids who are like, oh my gosh, it was so quiet. We were there. One other person was there and she was like reading. Then she got in and like swam a couple laps. Then she got back out reading.
Okay.
Then another man came. He was just kind of like laying in the shallow end, getting some sun, relaxing. I'm reading a book. It's so quiet. You can hear a pin drop. Then people come with their elementary school age children. Ugh. I'm like, whatever. What can you do? It's 2 sisters, and the mom is providing swim lessons from the chair.
Which is always annoying.
What in the world are you doing, bitch?
Just sign them up for swim lessons. It's like an epidemic of parents giving swim lessons from their chair.
And like the mom is like, okay.
I think I know who it is. We've seen them before.
You have?
Yeah. She's an annoying woman.
She's so annoying. She was like, okay, make sure that if you're...
Also, they were doing that last summer. Why aren't they any better swimmers? These aren't working.
Her lessons aren't working.
Okay, keep going.
She's like, and make sure if you're if you're going to swim all the way to the end, that you take a big deep breath before, big deep breath, and under the water. It was like, she's yelling. It's like, there's me and 2 other people and Mike, who was sleeping through this entire thing. And then, like, the girl treads, she makes it to the middle of the pool, and she's like, I can't make it, mommy, mommy, mommy. And this girl is 10. I mean, like, holy shit. And the mom's like, yes, you can, Annabelle. Like,
Annabelle,
come
enough.
on, Annabelle. And then she's like, okay. Like, this girl's obviously old enough to swim. She's, like, in the middle of the pool swimming. And then she's like, and use your feet. Use your feet. Okay, so that's one annoying situation.
Yeah.
The next group comes in. A dad, I'm assuming a divorcee. He looked disheveled.
He looked like he'd seen some shit.
Yes.
He looked like he'd seen inside of divorce court.
Him and his 2 absolutely elementary school age children, boys, now 2 boys. They're like, you know, talking about sunscreen extremely loudly. It's like, do you guys realize you guys are really the only people talking at this pool? Fine. Okay. Talking is allowed,
yeah,
but like,
we have to allow talking.
We'll
Okay.
allow talking.
Okay.
But again, it's like been a major disruption to the beautiful setting we had before.
To your reading.
It's not just me, like the woman in her sun hat who was also reading is like, what the
Fuck is going on? Yeah.
So he comes in, he's like getting the kids set up. He's there with his dad. So it's like grandpa, dad, 2 kids.
Oh, was grandpa a divorcee?
I don't know much about grandpa. Dad looked, you
Like
could tell.
Yeah, okay.
They sit down and they like, you know, brought a couple beverages, enjoy. I think they were trying to have a relaxing day too, but unfortunately they had children with them.
They're like, we wish we were here alone too.
Yeah. And the boys get in, like one of the boys is like, cannonball! Splash. They splash this man who was like trying to sit quietly in the corner. His like sunglasses get wet. His hair gets wet, which I don't think he wanted to get wet.
That wasn't part of his plan.
Yeah. And he was like, and the dad, nicely so, was like, hey guys, let's try and stay away from the other people in the pool. Like, let's just, you know, be respectful. So nice. Thank you so much, sir, for actually realizing that no one wants your kids splashing them in the fucking face.
Annabelle's mom should be paying attention.
Holy shit. That's like, that's actually worse. It's worse when the parents
don't say anything.
Don't realize
That's
or don't
what I'm
say
saying.
anything.
Like it's like layered. Like, okay, kids are kids.
Yes. So the boys aren't listening, obviously. They're like they vacillate. All elementary school children vacillate between like running, yelling, and whining.
You paint a beautiful picture.
It's just, that's just what it is. It's like,
totally.
dad, like, oh my fuck.
I hear ya.
So, and the dad is like trying to talk to his dad about something I can't even hear. And he keeps being like, what, Blake? What? And Blake's like, Dad, my goggles keep getting water in that, like from across the pool. It's like, and then you've got swim lessons on the other side. And you're like, oh my God, this just turned into like something I don't want to be at all. But so the boy kept like swimming over kind of by me and kept splashing my Kindle.
Okay.
Which, like, it's fine. He's just swimming. Like, he's not, like, cannonballing in. Like, you're going to get splashed in a pool. But the dad was actually so nice. And he was like, Blake, I'm serious. This girl's trying to read. Like, stop swimming over by her. There's a big pool. We don't need to be right in this corner. And then he looked at me and he was like, I'm really sorry. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's so fine. Thank you. Like, I get it. You can't control your crazy kid. If the parent just like says something or tries to do something about it,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. And like, I can't even be mad at that point, you know?
So it's the etiquette question.
So, then one of the boys got a nosebleed and he's just kind of like bobbing water in the middle of the pool. It's like, this is like a very like small pool. Like, don't be here, you know? But anyway, So the etiquette question is, at what point are you like, if the dad didn't say something, because I would say 9 times out of 10, the parent does not notice.
Yeah, I agree.
Like at the pool we frequent, the other pool we go to.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's very rare.
At what point do you say like, do you mind?
I don't think you can ever say, do you mind? I think
I've never said, do you mind? But I want to.
I think it frequently, but I don't think you can ever say, do you mind? Unless they're actively doing something that's like not etiquette wise inappropriate, like just social norms. Like if they are fully immersing your shit in water or like kicking you or stealing your chair, because unfortunately that is the one downside of community pools. Everyone is equally, or like that one time we said something about the music that they were blaring. Like
yes.
we had
That actually wasn't us. That was the other person.
Oh, right. We were thinking about doing it, but we supported them. Yeah. Like one time we were at a community pool, like again for our neighborhood, and this group of like 4 young people come in. They have music on just in the background at the pool. Very serene, very calm. This group of like 4 kids comes in, probably like high school, and they're blaring music on like a small Bluetooth speaker.
Like inappropriate rap.
But like it wasn't.
And we love inappropriate rap in our cars.
Yeah, like that's a car thing, and also does not even matter what type of music it was. We don't need music layered on top of the existing music 10 times louder.
Correct.
And so people said something to them, and that was totally fine, because that fully violates like social norms. I think when people are being annoying, you have to just like bite your tongue or not be there, because unfortunately they're equally allowed to be there.
That's what I'm saying, and I wish we had someone with elementary school age children who could weigh in, because like that's really the only way you'll really know.
Yeah.
But like those kids would rather be at a public pool. And if you don't want to like feel bad about like correcting your kid or like yelling across a quiet pool, go to the public park district pool.
I actually expect community pools, like the pool in our neighborhood is chaos on the weekends and so calm.
Yours is worse than a public pool.
But like during the weekends, it's horrible just because there's a lot of kids in our neighborhood or our community. Actually, spoiler alert, it's not even our community anymore. We just held onto the key when we closed on our condo.
True that.
Because our new house was like in the neighborhood next door. And I was like, yeah, we're still going to go to that pool. But it's chaos on the weekends. It's pretty chill during the weeks. So I feel like it's fine for all the kids in the neighborhood to be chaotic during the weekend, because I think it is fun for them. Like a lot of them are friends.
No, I get it. I really do get it. A lot of kids live in that neighborhood. Yeah. And on the weekends, there's a ton of kids there.
I think that's their time. Like I think it's more not my time to be there. I'm more annoyed on like a Tuesday morning. Like,
why aren't you at camp?
Right. Like go do something. But I think like we need to concede the weekends to the youth.
Right.
Well, today I got pulled over.
Oh.
For speeding.
For the one, you've been pulled over more times than anyone I know.
Yeah.
Is there like some sort of a tag on your car that says like, pulled me over, I'm an asshole?
No. I think there's a tag on my car that says I'm speeding, and it's called my speedometer. I knew I was speeding.
Sure.
But I didn't think it was like a situation that warranted a pullover. But the police officer felt differently. I will say he was like as someone who's been pulled over quite frequently, he was by far the nicest.
Oh, really?
He was so nice and chill. Like he was like, where are you coming from? I was like, oh, I had a meeting in the city. And he was like, oh, what do you do? I told him what I do. He's like, interesting, cool. You must be busy nowadays. I'm like, yeah, pretty busy. He's like, all right, well, if you could show me your license and registration. I show it to him. He's like, do you know how fast you were going? I was like, I'm just going to go with honesty. Like I've tried it all. Having been pulled over, let me honestly tell you, I have done the research. I've been devastated. I've cried.
Cry on command.
I've cried on command. I've pulled that everyone in my family is cops, because that's true. I've tried the angry. I've tried the I have no clue what you're talking about. And I've tried the honesty. And I got to tell you, the honesty goes a long way. So he goes, do you know how fast you're going? And I go, I think about 60. And he goes, you're going 62. And I go, okay, it's not great. And he goes, do you know what the speed limit was there? I really don't, but I assume it's like 45. So I was like,
you guessed 50.
I think I guessed 45. Did I guess 50?
No, I'm saying if you think you're going 60, you guess 50.
No, because I was like, I really think it's 45. Like I was so honest. Like you could have hooked me up to a lie.
He doesn't know if you really think it's 50 or 45.
But I was just like, I'm going right down the middle. Like I committed. This was the most honest I've ever been in a traffic stop, and it ended with me not getting a ticket. So take what you will from this research. He goes, what do you think the speed limit is? I go, I don't know for sure, but I think it's like 45. He's like, it is 45. He goes, are you in a hurry to get somewhere? And
Would that make it okay?
I didn't want to tell him like I'm in a hurry to get everywhere. Like everything to me requires speeding. But I was like, no, honestly, like
Which is strange for someone who's always early. I don't know why you're speeding anywhere.
Because
just to sit there for 10 minutes.
If I'm on the brink of being late, as I was today, I needed to speed.
Okay.
So he was like, were you going anywhere in particular? I'm like, no, honestly, because that area where I got pulled over has a bunch of construction. I was like, I'm used to there being a big backup, so I think I wasn't even paying attention since I was going faster than normal. He's like, all right, well, show me your license, your insurance, and then if everything checks out, I'm just going to give you a warning and get you going on your way. I'm like, okay.
Did it all check out?
I mean, I didn't have any felonies or warrants, so here I am. But like, when I tell you the whole experience was 6 minutes.
Wow.
Like,
so what explains why you were so late then if it was only 6 minutes? Just kidding.
I was like, wait, what? No. But he was so nice. He also, I'm confused because I feel like this is the first time I've been pulled over by a cop who I feel like looked 12. Like, I looked older than the cop.
Really?
He looked like an infant.
Wow. When they give you a warning, does that count towards their goals?
I don't know much about the internal workings of their goals. I know it does show up on your record. Like, I won't get another warning for a while. Like, if I got pulled over again in a year, they would show I got a warning a year ago.
When does the warning go away?
I think it always shows, but they use their best judgment. So, like, if in 5 years I got a warning, I don't think they'd give me a ticket. Like, hey, you got pulled over 5 years ago, haven't gotten pulled over since then, got a warning. We're going to give you another warning. But, like, if I got pulled over in 7 months, I think he'd be like, yo, bitch.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a bummer.
But you made it out alive.
I did. So honesty, true
worked.
with my market research, is working. Yeah, but not ideal. I was like, if I get a fucking ticket.
Another
fucking ticket. What is something that you think that I do that you would like to adopt, like you would adopt into your own life? Like a habit I have that's maybe a little weird, but you're like, I should do that.
It has to be a habit?
Or like a quality, or like,
I should do that, or I do that. Like I've adopted it.
Oh, that's a good one. We could go with you've adopted it. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
That's a twist on it. Ooh, that's good, because now I actually have to think of my answer too, because I'm going to change it.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay.
I would say something you do that I would like to do more of. I'm not going to say be early, because I don't care for that.
Because I don't want to be early.
I say something that you say.
What?
Little baby.
Little baby.
It's just a little baby.
It's just a little baby. That's a good one. Something I have been working on and I see the value in, like, I used to be the queen of chaos. Like, no 2 days of mine were the same.
Ugh.
And you had like such a structure to your days, and I thought you were a sociopath. Like, I was like, are you one step away from being a serial killer?
What is serial killer about making sure I brush my teeth in the morning?
No, okay, that's extreme. But like, you like have your nighttime tea, and like you're just a very regimented person. Mm-hmm. And I fucking love it now. I gotta say, over the last 3 years, I have become I'm nowhere near where you are, but I am way more structured. I think Tyler, would you agree? Yeah, my husband agrees. I'm way more structured, and it brings me peace.
Can you give an example?
Like, I do the same thing every morning. Like, we get up at the same time. We have our coffee routine. Then he showers. Then I shower. Like, when you used to tell me stories of like how you had like a program to your day, I was like, oh God, this loser. But it brings me so much peace. Like, knowing what to expect out of my morning and my night.
I think most people are me.
Sure, maybe. I was living life like in a free fall, and I thought it made me more flexible, but it just made me more anxious.
And it just made it so that like sometimes you were leaving and you didn't brush your teeth.
Right. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Which is like fucked up.
It was fucked up. But like now I just feel like, and obviously you did it for years, but like my husband really helped. He's very structured. And like when we first started dating, he was like, what goes on in your day? Like, it was so crazy, because he would like sleep over and he'd be like, what time do you need to get up tomorrow? And I'd be like, oh, 7:30. And he'd be like, don't you have like an 8:15 meeting? And I'd be like, yeah. And he'd be like, you're going to get up 45 minutes before your meeting?
Absolutely.
And I was like, didn't see the error of my ways. And he was like, don't you want to like ease into your day? And now I'm like, what a crazy person. It started with you. Like, you walked so Tyler could run.
Oh, good.
Like, you both combined your regimented schedules. I've adopted it, and I love it.
Okay, it's not really regimented. These are just normal.
Okay, fine.
Normal things that people do. My husband's kind of the same way as you are. Like, he didn't have more of like a set
Did you marry
routine.
me and I married you? No.
I definitely didn't marry you.
Okay.
Fuck no.
You would be so lucky.
Okay. He is definitely more like you in like the routine sense. It's like I don't need to do the same thing every single day, but he's like, had to kind of get on my program because like we're going to watch TV together if we're home at night. Like we'll watch a show on the couch, and then when we're going upstairs, he gets up, makes my tea, gives me a little chocolate square.
Who wouldn't?
He lets the dogs out. I get up, fold the blankets, and then on our way upstairs, he has my tea, and the dogs are following us upstairs, and he says, "Alexa, light off." And our living room light shuts off. This is literally every night that we're like home together. It's the same. It's the same routine. One night I said that would be like when we move out of our house. If our life was a TV show, that would be like the season finale. Alexa, light off.
No, there's so much peace in that, though.
It's just like that is literally what we do every single night. That's like similar to the others. Obviously, like if we're out or whatever.
Right.
But there's like a piece in your routine that like this is what you do, and it helps you feel like centered.
Yeah. No, I love it.
I'm so glad.
No, like I really do. So in closing, I've adopted an entire schedule, and you've taken a phrase.
And I've taken
Little baby.
I can't think of something you do that I also
okay.
now do, because a lot of what you do would make me feel really unstable.
Okay.
Like the way you drive.
Okay.
Incessant braking.
You drive like an actual sociopath.
Oh, someone here is in the room who's ridden in the car with both of us.
Who's a scarier driver? And I won't hold it against you.
Yeah, I haven't driven a lot with Rachel, so it's tough to say her. I have driven a lot more with you. You are a good driver, but you can be a little inattentive.
Inattentive is the key word.
Rachel drives like she is trying to escape a robbery. Like, we aren't even in a rush. And she's like, oh, I cannot wait in this line. Down an alley, over a rock, over a cliff's edge. She's like, Waze told me that if I go through this river and I just put out this little raft, we'll get there 6 minutes earlier.
I actually had to stop using Waze because it was taking me down like
rivers.
Yes. And I was like, okay, this is too far.
Oh my God. You are like, as someone, maybe it's just because you're always running late. Even when you aren't running late, you feel this need to like maneuver through the towers.
It's not about being late. It's about like, I do not have even a millimeter of patience.
Period.
Period. For idiots on the road.
You will literally Indy 500 2 times and you're like, look, we got there 2 minutes earlier. And I'm like,
it's not 2 minutes. It's like 10 minutes.
Oh, it's 10.
And that saves time when you are running late.
You know when you're going to want those minutes back? Your deathbed. Just kidding. Rachel's like, you're welcome.
Exactly.
I mean, I think we both have aggressive tendencies in a driver's seat.
It's like, it's the like,
but
dummies on the road.
I only feel that way when I'm running late. Like when I'm on time, I drive leisurely.
So leisurely that you're not looking at the road. I would say almost every time I'm in the car with you, in the middle of us talking, I have to say braking.
You don't have to, you choose to.
Because our lives depend on it.
No, I would be fine.
Like there are brake lights ahead and you're not seeing them because you're talking to me. And it's like, okay, are you capable of just having a conversation and driving?
Yes, extremely. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's just like being in the car can be either a brief experience or an annoying one. And I just prefer it to be brief. Okay. Speaking of, does this happen to you? I have a car with leather seats.
Okay.
Which I don't love. Like I had like the leatherette before, it wasn't real.
Okay.
And now I have real leather.
Burns your ass.
It does burn my ass, but I got into my car the other day after being at the pool.
Yeah.
Like we'd been at the pool, and then I got in like an hour later to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
And my seat, I realized when I got out at the grocery store that my ass was wet.
Oh, it retained the water.
And I like, this has happened to me a bunch of times now where I sit in my car and I wonder, is my seat wet or is my ass sweating? Does this happen to you? Like when you get out, is your ass ever sweating?
No, but I don't know if our car's leather or leatherette. What's leatherette?
You'd know.
What's leatherette? Is it fake leather? What's our car?
Yours is real leather. The newer car's real leather and
Yeah.
the older one's not leather at all.
I know, but like what? So it's the real. I know that, but like it doesn't. I don't notice anything about my ass. Like when I'm in the car.
I don't. Thinking back on it now, I don't notice anything about my ass.
I just simply sit. I just sit on my ass. I even forget that I have one.
All I do is sit on my ass. Why are you thinking about your ass so much?
No, literally.
Because it's like a new experience of like getting out and being like, okay, first of all, I never sweat really. Like, so to get out and feel your ass is wet, it's like, is my ass sweating on this hot seat? Or was I just at the pool? It's a scary feeling.
I'm sorry that happened to you. So did you see that Kim Zolciak? Oh, you loved Kim Zolciak. Kim Zolciak. Are we
I
still
never loved Kim Zolciak. I loved
always tardy?
Always Tardy, and I didn't love her on Atlanta, but like she just has a crazy life. So
I don't know if we're calling her Kim Zolciak Bierman anymore, but anyways, they got into like another
KZB
extremely chaotic fight where like police were called and Kroy had locked himself in the bathroom allegedly with her
Did you
phone.
watch the video, the body cam of the first time?
Yes.
Okay, me too.
So crazy.
Of him, like, you can't tell if it's him or her. Like, she's screaming
They're
in the
all
background,
screaming.
and he's like, I can't live like this anymore. And you're like, what's going on?
I don't understand what happened, but I guess over the weekend they were like still fighting about some of their credit card bills, which like he alleges she has a gambling addiction, like all this crazy shit. But I guess a judge finally did lay out a very formal plan that dictates how they're supposed to use their home, use their closets, use their bills. She can't sell anything.
A judge can make a ruling like they're not divorced.
I think it's still
Correct?
under like discussion, like what the terms of the divorce are going to be. But they're like laying out specific policies within their shared home because I think they still fucking live together, a la Tom and Ariana.
Sure.
So back in May, they did this whole policy where it was like she has access to the master bedroom Monday through Friday, but only between 9 and 3. And he's forbidden from entering the closet during those hours. He doesn't have specific hours, but he can only go into the closet.
Oh my gosh, move out. Like somebody move out.
So crazy. Why do you guys still want to even live there together? And then I guess they said now recently she, I guess, owed Target some money, which she's had this card
She
for.
owed Target?
Yeah, she
like
had like
her
a Target credit card. And they were fighting over.
I was like, what did they lend her a few bucks?
Like, truthfully, the shit that comes out in your divorce, like,
Insane.
Don't be messy. But what's crazy is she only owes them $2,500. And it's become like, are they so broke?
I don't know if it's that they're so broke or no one is managing their money. Like perhaps she has a lot of credit cards and like
she made a payment of $500 in 2022.
But like who's to say that she even knew that until, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe she just has like so many expenses.
That's a problem.
Well, yes, of course.
One, she has to buy all those Solo cups that she loves.
And who knows? I mean, do they have any money coming in?
Well, that's where I'm like, you're paying. So this leads me to believe like they're idiots and you're paying your lawyers and court fees to determine who can access your fucking closet. Do you know how much they're paying in lawyers' fees for that shit?
That's what's insane. Like if we have to get to this point, someone just move out.
Move.
Or like you've seen their house on Don't
Yeah.
Be Tardy. Is there a different bedroom?
Put a tape down the middle.
Like, go to a different room and then you can access it whenever you want. That's like the same on Vanderpump.
Yeah.
Tom and Ariana living
They
in
have
that
separate
house.
rooms. But here's my thing. At a certain point, you're paying other people to mediate something for you to have something left, but you're going to have less left.
And I get in that scenario, like, I heard Tom on a podcast talking about like how Ariana like is not like a prideful homeowner. Like she just kind of like lived there.
Oh, yes, the toilet paper.
And he was very much like, I took care of the yard and I took care of everything for the house. And like, she didn't want to move out on principle. And I didn't want to move out because like, I feel like that's my house. And I get like two people have very strong feelings and they dig their heels in, but like, we have to like, there's like, that is the last place I want to feel uncomfortable in my own home.
It's
like,
not who's right, it's who's left.
Yes, I would rather just like, I'd rather live in a 1-bedroom by myself.
No, it's fucking nuts. But all I kept thinking is like, okay, so you don't want to do any of that and you're like prideful and vindictive or whatever. But to get all of this shit done, you were paying someone to file these things.
Yeah.
How stupid are you? Someone is making money off mediating access to your fucking closet. Take your shit and leave.
GTFO.
Bye.
Yeah.
And you're not paying your Target credit card bill? Like,
then if you like, the house is probably very expensive. I'm sure they owe a lot on it. If she were to just move out and be like, that's fine. You want to decide when and how I access the closet. If she were going to be like, okay, that's fine. You take the house. I'm out of here. Is that why no one's moving out? Because they're both financially on the hook for...
Well, I don't think it matters if you technically live in the house if you are entitled to the proceeds from it. Because they bought it together.
They're both like, if I'm going to have to pay for this, I'm living here.
Yeah, I bet they just can't afford to live somewhere else and not sell the house, which like sell the fucking house.
Totally.
People are crazy. How did those two meet even?
I think they met at like an event or something because I think she met him on
the show.
On the show.
Real Housewives. Because she was obsessed with that married guy who she couldn't bring on the show. Big Daddy.
Oh, here, I just looked it up. In May of 2010, Big Papa.
Big Papa. Big Daddy. Oh, I'm sorry. So different.
Really close. Come on, Big Papa.
Yeah.
Love it. It says May 2010, Kim Zolciak and Kroy Biermann met for the first time at the Dancing Stars of Atlanta charity event. Seen in a season 3 episode, Kim attended in support of Sheree.
Ooh.
She by Sheree, who was competing alongside Kroy. So Kroy was...
Because he was playing football at the time.
Yeah, I think he was on the Falcons.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was playing football, so he was like a local celeb as well. They were doing some charity thing, and Kim met him there.
Oh.
And at first, it really seemed like true love.
For a long time, it seemed like true love.
Like, he adopted Ariel and Brielle.
I know.
Ariana and Brielle.
So sad. That imploded.
Oh, and speaking of how people meet.
Yeah.
I actually read a really interesting story.
Oh, what is it?
Let me find it really quickly. A new report just came out, actually.
Okay.
That the in-person dating trend and where Gen Z and millennials are finding dates, trying to find partners, has totally changed.
Has totally changed from millennials to Gen Z?
No. Has totally changed from online and apps.
Oh, that is crazy. How are they meeting?
It says Eventbrite sparked this study because they found that attendance for singles and dating events on their platform increased by 42% from 2022 to 2023.
Interesting.
Showing that people are turning to gatherings that focus on their hobbies and interests more. Think like game nights at a bar, like everyone comes and whatever, or athletic events like run clubs, but exclusively for singles. One of my really good friends actually was just telling me how she's going to a speed dating event. Her friend from work is going and was like, hey, will you come to this with me? Like, I don't want to go by myself. And that's usually how it is. It's like, come, bring another single friend. It. And so like people are coming and like meeting in person, and you have to talk to someone for literally like 2 minutes. It's like no pressure. You're just sitting there. The guys like move from like table to table.
I love it. Yeah, make them
They
move.
set you up at like High Boys or whatever. And
this is amazing news.
And so that's becoming, obviously people are more hanging out more in person anyway post COVID. They're
Yeah.
like more
And
apt
they're
to be like
eager to do
yes,
it, I
they're
think,
like let's get out there. They've been, you know, swiping for 2 years and it's not working for them. And it actually says on here, it's no secret that singles are increasingly ditching the dating apps and opting for real connection. Swiping fatigue was like one of the terms of 2023, you know, like I don't know if it's Merriam-Webster or whatever, like swiping fatigue was people are sick of swiping.
Just swiping.
And they want to meet in person, and they're obviously having more success doing that.
Do you know what this means?
What?
This is one step closer to bringing the 90s back. I hope the next study says we're throwing out our cell phones and we're getting beepers.
You know what I think it really means? That the whole idea behind the apps in the first place was flawed, because like when you could put in, I never had the apps, but I did go on your app all the time.
Yep.
And when you could put in your parameters for who you want to match with, why in the fuck was things like height included on there?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Like if you meet someone at a bar and they happen to be 5'7" and your minimum is 5'8", are you taking out your yardstick?
100%. And that is really what the issue with the apps always was. Like people, and I don't want to like say it was mostly men, but men on the apps got so in the habit of like just swiping to swipe and like no real connective tissue between like what they wanted in a relationship and the dates they were going on. And girls were getting fucking exhausted. Like it is exhausting to be going on dates and have these guys be so fucking like superficial or like,
because we learned guys are like without any reason swiping right.
Yep.
Like they're like match.
It's just a numbers game for them.
And girls are most likely
Yep.
being more diligent.
Yep. And looking for like real qualities.
Right.
I love this. Here, I've always said this. Like, obviously, my husband and I met on an app. So grateful. Big shout out to Hinge.
Because you had to change your parameters.
Because I had to change my parameters. And because we were both in a place where like we were dating, but like not like these fucking Gen Zs who like go on 30 dates a month.
Yeah.
But I never loved the concept of the apps. Like, I don't think they were ever built. I think it's more about the people on the apps. It wasn't that the apps were doing anything. Like, I really believe it was like the people who were in the right place at the right time and the apps happened to be the vehicle. I don't think the apps had like cracked the code of matching.
But I mean, everyone said like, okay, Hinge was really great because you had to like have some sort of a connection on Facebook or something.
They got rid of that though.
Sure. I'm saying like, you know, they were trying to really like
Yeah.
do something. And then what I think the problem was is that people are not necessarily always good at picking for themselves.
100%. Yep.
You suffered from that.
I did.
And also putting in these like parameters of like, and you can do so many things on it now. Like I was reading an article, you can pick like, I want someone who doesn't smoke weed. I want someone who
like, you just need to meet
and
people.
it's like, or maybe you meet someone who smokes weed occasionally and you don't end up giving a fuck about it.
Well, it's because once you meet someone and you connect with them and you love them, like, not to sound fucking cheesy, but like none of that shit matters.
Right. So why, that's what I'm saying.
Like, yeah, like you're cutting yourself off at the past from meeting actual quality people with all of these fucking parameters.
Yeah, I just think the parameters are really dumb and it makes sense that people would want to be meeting in person now.
Yeah, I agree.
But this kind of brings me to what could be a daily dilemma.
What is that?
Do you think that, and not just you, but other people, do you think that you met on an app? Do you think that you and your husband would have like talked and dated if you had met like just out at a bar?
I really do. And we've talked about it a lot.
You have?
We have. We've had that conversation. Like, I feel like the app was a vehicle and made it more possible for us to meet because geographically, like, we were living pretty far apart when we first started dating. And the likelihood of us crossing paths organically wasn't as high.
Until you had your intuitive friend take over.
Yeah, exactly.
And I said, what do you care if someone lives more than 30 miles from you? You have a car.
I know that was stupid. I had some stupid parameters for sure. You were Destiny's helper.
And again, I think an app could actually really be successful. Like you specifically, and I think probably 80% of the people on the apps get in their own way. by like being able to make those parameters, you know, like don't ask like if you set a mileage radius to like just have it be 50 mile, like do you have a car? Okay, then your mileage radius is this.
100%. And like us meeting on an app, like we talk about it a lot here, but it's like such a thing about us that I never even think about. Like you, like once you're dating, it's not like yeah, like I never think about us meeting on an app. And so I 100% think that we would have,
like we went to a lot of bars in our youth.
yes, like if 100% if we met in real life, we would have
out
dated
at our favorite bar.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm gonna say?
Old Crow.
Yeah. Or Poorhouse.
Yeah.
Depending on where we were.
Yeah. But
or let's say Poorhouse, because that was more of a meeting.
Sure, we were
type.
older at that point. Yeah.
You're at Poorhouse also. The same night we happen to be at Poorhouse, and your table's near ours. Our tables start talking to each other. Would you have been like, I'm here at this bar and I could maybe meet someone I'm going to take out on a date? Or are you in the mindset like I'm out drinking with guys?
Definitely the latter.
Yeah.
That's just the guy.
And that is just, yeah.
Thankfully, my wife, my better half over here, is a lot more social and extroverted than I am, so it wouldn't have been a problem.
But had she have come, had let's say our tables are near each other, the stars have aligned. We're like talking with you guys at your table. You two start talking one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, this is what I do, whatever. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. Would you have then been like, can I get your number?
Well, I think I would have had to. I would have been drawn in like that.
But honestly, like, have you done that before?
No, I never,
exactly.
I've never done it before, but for her, of course.
I really do think he would have.
But honestly.
Okay. I think I'm a big believer in fate.
You really think that?
Yeah, for her. Yeah, absolutely.
I really believe in fate. I don't think that's his, like, he's so much more introverted and like just that's not his personality. But I do, and this sounds like losery, but I feel like if we didn't meet on the app, we would have and it would have required some like, I don't know what the word is, like you
finagling.
Finagling, like you have to behave a little bit differently. Do you think you and Mike would have dated if you guys matched on an app?
It's so hard to say because I was never on the apps to know even like what I would have, what parameters I would have set, or like how I would have been swiping.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think you would have. I think it would have been harder for you personally to meet someone on an app.
Because
I think you're more of like a big picture, or like the whole picture sort of person.
So like when someone says that they're like, you know, 6'2" and from some suburb, it's like, okay, what the fuck else do I know about
But not even that. Like the apps are super one-dimensional. Like that was my whole experience. Like I would go on dates with guys that sucked because like I couldn't count them out. But like what they were showing on the app was like, okay, cool, sure.
You seem normal.
You seem normal. And then you go on an app and they have like zero personality.
And they're absolutely not normal.
Or like they like make one joke on their app, so you're like, oh, they're gonna be funny, and then like they say not one funny thing. Like
right.
You're like, this fucking sucks. Where for you, like I think you would have gotten annoyed by that. Like there were definitely seasons of me being so annoyed where I was like, I have to stop doing this. I think you would have gotten annoyed quicker. So I think if you and Mike met early on in your app journey, maybe. I like to think he would have done it, and I believe we would have started dating, but it's so not his personality to like I would have been like, he's so cute, he's so smart, he's so funny. And
yes, like you would have totally been like, this guy's so cute,
yeah,
maybe he'll ask me on a date, whatever. And he would have been like, she seemed nice. Anywho's like, and like his friends would be like, hey, you want to go to the next bar? And he'd be like, yep, well, nice meeting you. No number. And we would have been like, why didn't that guy ask for your number? And you'd be like, I don't know, idiot.
So annoying.
Yeah. That is 100% what would have happened. I'm really sorry.
I'm really sorry. I honestly am so grateful to hear that the youth are trying to like be interpersonal.
Did you ever meet your husband? Did you ever meet someone out at a bar?
No, that's not me. So we didn't go out to a lot of bars. So
when you went somewhere like with friends, were you like, maybe I'll meet someone tonight?
No, that was never my goal, really.
How did you plan on meeting someone?
Yeah, either through the apps, or I guess I was planning on being a spinster, you know, a male spinster.
You were planning on being a male spinster.
Well, nobody really plans on it, but, it does happen.
That's the word, folks.
Well, thankfully, in this case, it didn't happen.
Yeah, the apps, like, I don't think they don't have a place. Like, I think the apps are super helpful, and especially in a world that is so, like, we're just busier than ever. We're hyper focused on careers. Like, I totally get that the apps serve a necessary goal, and, like, God bless them. Like, I'm so grateful for them. I just think they've gotten to a point where, like, people are exhausted and they're not locking into like what people are actually looking for. They're just physically putting bodies in front of each other.
And like the divorce rate obviously is high.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious how the apps will affect that when our generation starts getting a little bit older.
Yeah, I am curious.
Like, will the divorce rate go up or down? Because I'm wondering if, like, did apps connect more people who, like, never would have met, who were really, like,
compatible,
meant to be? Or did they connect you with people in a world where you weren't feeling a lot of connections and so you settled for less?
I, again, am biased, but I think as I think about that, I think it's people are better set up in their relationships. Like, before, you just met the people in your circle, and if you wanted to get married, I think you were more apt to settle because there wasn't this like big world. Like, you weren't like, you were going to meet someone at work, in your neighborhood, school. And so the idea of settling was like,
but it's such a great big world. Like,
totally.
You didn't have, like, in our parents' generation, they didn't have like the internet. It was like, I could meet someone literally anywhere, anytime, versus in ours, it's like, I've seen everybody.
But I don't think people ever feel that way because of the apps. Like, there's this whole thing on social media right now where, like, if you're feeling stuck in a rut, go on a trip and date in a new city and, like, just try it out, which, like, seems stupid, like, if you're not gonna fucking move there. But, like, just to refresh yourself and, like, get yourself acclimated to, like, putting yourself out there. I don't think that's good.
You are supposed to travel alone to a new city.
People have said that that's, like, a good reset. I don't necessarily think that's a great idea, but what do I know?
Oh my gosh. Or, like, take a trip with a friend. If you need a reset. Holy
but
shit. Go somewhere alone and try dating. What?
I think that
This is what happens when people turn to TikTok for advice.
I don't think it's a great idea, to be honest. But I do think that, like, everyone, all of our parents' generation who are married, their partners came from a very small group. They met at college. They met in high school. They met through a friend of a friend. Like, they couldn't get beyond that fishbowl, and, like, maybe it worked out great. Like, we know a lot of really happy people, but we also know some people who it's like, you got married because you needed to get married. You were of a certain age. Where I think, one, that stigma of getting married by a certain age is lifting, and I also think there's just more.
Is it though?
I think so. It's still there, but it's not the same age. Like, before, our parents' generation, if you weren't married at 28,
I think people who, men and women, I think men less, because most men, especially in, like, metropolitan areas, feel like Peter Pan, but, like,
totally,
women and men over 40, I feel like, still feel that, like, if they're single, and women over 30, men over 40, I think they're like, if they're wanting to get married eventually, I think they're feeling the pressure.
For sure over 40, but it used to be like 28. Like, in our parents' generation, if you weren't married at 28, it was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
We're like,
you were going to, like, mixers at, like, your church or temple or something.
Totally. Like, now there's so much longer, and you can meet people from all over. And I think that does have people have a better chance of, like, compatibility.
Well, only time will tell.
We'll see.
Our producer wants us to make a quick editing note. If you are, and also our social media manager.
Yeah, our social media manager.
If you could give us a follow.
If you like us and you listen, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Call You Later.
We're on TikTok?
We are.
Oh.
You're not, but we are.
Cool.
So on Instagram, it's call.ya.later. It's Call You Later podcast on TikTok. So yeah, give us a follow. Share with your friends. We so appreciate it.
Like for like. Isn't that what the kids say?
Follow for follow.
Yeah.
Should we get back to the real world?
I guess so.
I don't wanna.
Well, thanks for calling.
I'll call you later. Love you.
Love ya.
Bye.
Bye.